Today, Monday, November the 23rd, we celebrate the feasts of St. Clement, Blessed Miguel Pro, and Pope St. Clement I, also known as Clement of Rome, one of the first popes, and one of those three early writers, along with Ignatius and Polycarp, who are called the Apostolic Fathers because they came under the direct or very close influence of the apostles of the Lord. There is an unverified tradition, attested by Tertullian and Jerome, that Clement was consecrated by Peter himself as his immediate successor. He is considered to have been pope from about the year 91 to about 100, when he was martyred. However, Linus, from 66 to 78, and Cletus, from 79 to 91, would then somehow have to be displaced from or rearranged on the list of popes. One possibility is that the latter two may have been representative of those Gentiles aligned with St. Paul, while Clement would have been leader of the Jewish disciples of Peter. Possibly Clement had been also a co-worker with St. Paul. We want to realize that the Roman community at this time was probably divided into a number of small house churches scattered throughout the city area, each presided over by a presbyter, a priest. At first, after the deaths of Peter and Paul, there would have been no united and coordinated leadership within the city's Christian community as a whole, although it seems to have been otherwise the case with Christian communities of other cities. Clement may have been charged with corresponding with these other communities and dispensing aid to those in need. As such, Clement would have functioned as a kind of foreign minister of the Roman Church, rather than as its monarchical bishop, or pope in the modern sense of the word. In any event, Clement is both best known for his likely authorship of the letter referred to as 1 Clement, the most important first-century Christian document outside the New Testament, and treated by some in the ancient church as if it were part of the canon. This first letter of Clement was sent about the year 96 from the church in Rome to the church in Corinth, stressing the apostolic authority of the clergy. It instructed the Corinthians to reinstate elders who had been improperly deposed, and to exile those who had instigated the rebellion. The form of his fraternal intervention seems to have been modeled on the relations of the imperial capital of Rome with its outlying provinces. In accordance with the practice of the imperial government, Clement sent witnesses with his letter to observe and to report on the restoration of harmony. He writes of the order of the world, considering how near God is to us. As none of our thoughts are hid from him, we ought never to do anything contrary to his will. We should honor them who are set over us. Bishops and deacons had been instituted from a necessity of discipline, and to them obedience is due. Quote, "Let everyone be subject to another according to the order in which he is placed by the gift of God." Unquote. The saint teaches that the lowest in the church may be the greatest before God, if they are more faithful in the discharge of their respective duties. Butler notes that the letter is not only important for its beautiful passages, its evidence of Roman prestige and authority at the end of the first century, and its incidental historical allusions. It is a model of a pastoral letter, a homily on Christian life. The letter is marked throughout by a laudatory attitude toward the Roman state. Underlying his words is the conviction that the empire and its rulers have been established by God as the earthly counterpart of the heavenly kingdom. As such, the Roman political system, which is at once imperial and hierarchical, is worthy of being emulated by the church itself. The influence of the existing Roman political system on the evolving Roman ecclesiastical church system therefore seems pretty clear. While there is no historical evidence to support the claim, yet tradition has it that Clement was banished by the Emperor Trajan to Crimea, where he preached the gospel while doing forced labor in the mines. As the nearest drinking water was miles away, Clement miraculously found a nearer spring for the use of the numerous Christian captives, and preached among the people with such success that numerous further converts were made. As a result, he was therefore thrown into the Black Sea with an anchor around his neck. That's a symbol of the saint. In the 9th century, St. Cyril and Methodius claimed to have recovered the martyr's relics along with the anchor. The relics were taken to Rome and buried in the church of San Clemente. And below this church and the 4th century basilica on which it was built are the remains of rooms of imperial Rome. So San Clemente's basilica is remarkable because, with its 3-tiered complex of buildings, archaeologically it records the history of Rome from the beginnings of Christianity up until and beyond the Middle Ages. Hundreds of years of history are revealed at the Basilica of San Clemente, not only with its amazing mosaics and frescoes of 4th century Rome, but also further below are found the remains of the pagan temple dedicated to the god Mithras. The house may have been used initially for clandestine Christian worship, but approximately a century later, a temple was dedicated to Mithras, however, built on the same site. And this would be used for performance of rites of initiation until later in the 200s. After the end of Christian persecutions in 313, the Pope commanded a room be built above which would become a basilica for the Christians. Centuries later, after destruction by invaders, a new church was erected on the same site in the year 1108, and it stands today. There now is the tomb of Pope Clement and this basilica dedicated to him. Irish Dominicans have been caretakers since the 17th century. Themselves, they conducted excavations in collaboration with Italian archaeology students in the past century to reveal the fascinating treasures beneath the main basilica. Clement is mentioned in the Eucharistic prayer between Cletus and Sixtus. This unique early church leader, renowned for his important letter and for the remarkable basilica where now his relics lie, in view of his labor in exile, is patron saint of marble workers and stonecutters, and also of mariners. Pope St. Clement, pray for us.